For over 1300 years there's been settlements here, mainly because this is one of the narrowest stretches of water on the Limfjord, a channel that runs from the east coast to the west coast of the Jutland Peninsula and makes the region north of where I'm standing an island. Over the years, that settlement has grown into Denmark's fourth largest city and is now home to 120,000 people. Today we're going to be visiting Aalborg, the so-called capital of the North Jutland region. Now before we get into Aalborg, let me tell you that this is the starting point for a road trip around the coastal regions of North Jutland. So after we're done here today, I'll be renting a car and heading for the town of House on the east coast where the journey begins. It is going to be a good one, so please consider subscribing and joining me on the adventure. I am certain that there is going to be lots to see in this part of Denmark. Right, Aalborg, let's see what you've got. I'm in the courtyard of Aalborg Castle, which is on the waterfront and just opposite a humongous cruise liner called the Viking Sky. I just looked it up and it is a ship that was launched in 2016, christened in 2017, cost $400 million to build and can accommodate 930 passengers in 465 cabins, all looked after by 450 crew members. And I keep seeing lots of guided tour groups walking around, which I suspect are from the cruise liner. The castle over here was built by King Christian III in the mid-1500s, but they found out pretty quickly that it didn't operate all that well as a castle, so it was switched into an administration quarter, which it still is today. There are casemates and a dungeon, and my understanding is that you can visit them during the summertime. Well, it turns out that the casemates and the dungeon area are open and they seem to be free to get in. So we've got two long tunnels. There's number 1 and through here is number 2. I'm not sure if that is the entire network, but definitely good to see it. The city is an exporter of grain, cement and spirits. Its university was founded in 1974. These days there's 20,000 students attending it. There is a cable park here where people can come and enjoy the water, play games and test out their wakeboarding skills. The waterfront is also getting pretty developed. You can see some tall high-rise buildings behind me. I'm guessing they're fairly expensive apartments and condos, which to be fair have a great view of looking down at the park and the Limfjord. So I just walked through 2 parks. The second one seemed to be a graffiti park where artists are invited to graffiti or paint over the areas stipulated in the rules of the park. I am now entering a really pretty street. You can see down in that direction, let me show you. Look at these pretty buildings. Different styles, architecture, colours. Shame about that big concrete block at the end there. And then the same with this one as well. And maybe the graffiti has spilled out of the graffiti park. Someone has definitely been at that one. Next up is the white facade of the Lutheran Budolfi Cathedral. Now, archaeologists have found traces of an old wooden church that stood on this site about 1,000 years ago, but this version of the cathedral actually dates back to the 1400s. It was built in the Gothic style, with the Baroque spire being added later in 1779. The cathedral is 56 metres long, 22 metres wide, and the tower and spire rise to 63.5 metres above the ground. Surprisingly enough though, this is actually the smallest cathedral in the whole of Denmark. Inside is a gold altarpiece, gold chandeliers. There are some magnificent carvings on the walls and pews. And at the back, as you would expect, is another giant organ. We've seen a few here in Aalborg. Over in that pretty spectacular brick building is a bank, formerly a post office. And to its left is the National Historical Museum of Aalborg. Or maybe it still is a post office. It's written above the door, and I've got a couple of cards to post, so let's see if we can give it a try. Hello, is this still a post office?
No, it's the bank right now, yeah.
So I can't post them here?
No, you have to go down on Vertex.
Well, you heard the lady. It is definitely no longer a post office. I'm now walking through the Monastery of the Holy Ghost in Aalborg. These buildings are about 600 years old, and for over half a millennia they have provided the city of Aalborg with workhouses and a hospital. These days it is a privately owned residential care home for the elderly, but I do want to point out two interesting facts. The first one is that it is the site of the city's oldest water fountain, and the second, it was the base for the famous resistance group, the Churchill Club, during the Second World War. The group was founded in 1941, and they used the monastery here to plan their actions and try and stay one step ahead from the enemy. Unfortunately, the 11 members were arrested in 1942 and they were sent to prison. This is Jomfru Ane Street, and from what I can make out, it's one of the main entertainment districts of the city. It is lined with pubs and bars and restaurants and cafes, and it's also where my hotel was that I stayed last night. My hotel was actually called the Jomfru Ane Hotel, and I had a single room on the second floor. I checked in late last night. The room came with breakfast, a private bathroom, and cost me £65 for the night. Although I tell you what, when I checked in last night about 10 o'clock, this street was bouncing. I could even hear it in my room, but luckily it did settle down at about 11 p.m. I know, I sound like an old man, but give me peace and quiet over parties any day of the week, or any night of the week as it turns out. Well, the day is getting away from me, so I've picked up some lunch on the go. We've got a pizza slice and some kind of apple tart. Well, I tell you what, that went down a treat. There's a lot thicker that pizza than I thought it was going to be, so it has filled me right up. My energy levels are back to nearly full, which is just as well because I've now got a 25-minute walk from the city centre, and I'm looking for an observation tower. Oh my word, what is this? It is like an outdoor theatre with the metal struts and beams of a partly dismantled hangar. Perhaps years ago it had some kind of proper roof on to keep the performers dry when they put a show on. Right, which way is it now? Is it that way? That way? It's not that way. It could be that way. And it could be that way. I think I'm gonna go for that way. The tower is always on top of a hill, and I think I can spot it now. We're coming out of the forested area, and there it is right there. It looks like a steel watchtower. However, I can't see any lifts, only steps. Hello. I was looking for the tower to buy a ticket.
You're paying.
Oh, up in the tower, right.
You're paying for.
Well, I was wrong. We have got an elevator, and this is the button for it. We've got the track behind the door. We're going up. Right. Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Hello there.
You want to see the tower?
Yeah, please.
Come inside.
Thank you very much.
You get the best view from up here.
Do you? Yeah, I did
do.
read that there was some really good views.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I didn't realise there was an elevator. I thought I was going to have to walk it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, the views are already pretty special.
We get 105 meters above the sea level.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's come inside.
Here we go. Oh, wow. We've got a restaurant and everything up here. Where do I pay?
Just here before
Oh.
you go down. Maybe you want a coffee, anything.
Got ya.
Let us know.
Yes. I might hang on then, and I might get a coffee or something to go. But,
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. It is called the Aalborg Tower and was built in 1933 for the North Jutland exhibition. But it was too expensive to pull down afterwards, so it was just left standing. The tower is 55 metres tall, but because it stands on a hilltop, it is 105 metres above sea level. It is also the tallest landmark in the entire city. At the top here there is a cafe, and you can choose which table you want to sit at and admire the views. "35 minutes walk to the next stop," and I thought Google had taken me up a dead-end street here, but it looks like I can get through to the road I'm after. Looks like a left, a right, and then we should be close to our next stop. Well, that's not the welcome you want to see to a caravan park. Just imagine turning up for your holidays and that's there to greet you. Just kidding. That was the entrance to the Defence and Garrison Museum, which is without a doubt worth an honourable mention as we're passing. The museum is set inside a large World War II era hangar. All in all, there are 10,000 square metres of exhibitions, military equipment, stories, a command bunker, and lots of information on it all. The hangar itself was built by the Germans during German occupation of Denmark during the Second World War. It's actually part of a seaplane base they established whilst they were here. I tell you, this is a really underrated part of the city. Just behind the caravan park and the museum is this water park, which features high and low diving boards, a swimming area and changing facilities. And then on top of here we've got a trampoline area and a crazy looking slide that goes down to whatever's below. And then on the other side is the fresh still water of the Limfjord, where you can go paddling, sailing, swimming off one of the many piers I've seen along here, and even catch a ferry across to an island called Eggholm, if that's what you want to do. Might have to save that one for next time though, because we are running a little low on time. This morning when I was filming the intro, I got talking to a lady about vlogging of all things, and I asked her if she recommended any spots here in the city that I should definitely visit. And she said if I walk about 30 minutes up the Limfjord, I would come to an area of old, colourful wooden houses, a little neighbourhood that would be different from anything else in the city of Aalborg. I have made it here and I'm really glad I did. It is a very picturesque area, and I gotta say she was 100% right. This is worth visiting, no doubt about it. Every building seems to be uniquely decorated. I've seen independent cafes. There was a music museum where you can enter with a contribution if you please. And to make it stand out, there was lots of musical instruments attached to the side of the wooden frame, including lots of saxophones. Walking around, you're going to see everything, including the kitchen sink, which I have already spotted. Well, just when you think it can't get any better, I've come across this old factory warehouse that is now an indoor and outdoor food market. There's even a games area set up with arcades and pinball machines. And if you're wondering what that beeping noise is, it means dinner's ready. It's got a whole host of internationally themed food vendors, including American, Mexican, Italian, Greek, British, Chinese, and of course, Indian. And I've said it many times before, you cannot beat a good Indian. Let's do this. Look at the size of those bits of chicken. All good. Well, I tell you what, if I hadn't have had that conversation with that lady this morning, there is no way I would have found that little neighbourhood of wooden houses. That was a killer tip. Always ask a local, that's what they say, and right there was evidence that it is true. Anyhow, I have left that incredible street food warehouse behind. I've walked past a little theme park called Mini Aalborg, which looked like it was worth a visit, and then I've taken a stroll past the Marina, checking out all the small yachts and boats. It's a beautiful, calm, still evening for sure. Well, I am about to end my adventure here in Aalborg. It has been incredible. I've really enjoyed looking around the city, but my next adventure awaits. I am about to head up towards the airport, rent myself a car, and for the next few days, maybe a week, we will be exploring the North Jutland region. It is going to be wonderful. I am really looking forward to it. Hopefully I will see you there. So if you're interested in coming along, consider subscribing, and maybe in the next video I'll see you by the coast.